Does Howie Roseman deserve credit? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network. It's great to be here with all of you today. Yes, it is Saturday. We've done a few other weekend shows. We have begun transitioning to the new style of presentation we do. I apologize. The hair is definitely more in the weekend mode. Gavin, smart move going with the hat today. I do have a couple hats nearby. Hey, you know what? It's decision day. Maybe I'll make the announcement, or we'll say that for another time. We'll see. But in all seriousness, Gavin Tony joining me today. It is 5:08 p.m. here on the East Coast. The 1st of May. We are flying through the months right now. Yeesh. It is 2021. Time's flying. I'm excited to be here. We have a lot to go over today, quite a debate that we have coming up. Gavin's least favorite person in Philadelphia, arguably all of our least favorite person in Philadelphia. Has he redeemed himself this weekend? What more does he need to do to prove he can be a good general manager? And more importantly, why is it important that we actually root for his success and not for his failure? Before any of that, as always, Gavin, Tony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Zach. Listen, it's Saturday, as you say. Our hair is not in weekday mode; it's in weekend mode. And Zach, I had
I
to
tried
cover
to
it
fix
up.
that. I apologize. It was the golf
But
hat knocked it up.
look, what you shot over again today? Is that what happened?
Practice day.
Okay, that's what he always says. But no, all jokes aside, listen, when we do Saturday shows, it's a special occasion. Zach, when I think our first weekend show was, we talked about UConn
All-star.
women's basketball and All-Star break. So those are our first two. And Zach, here we are today talking about my least favorite person in all of Philadelphia, Howie Roseman. But Zach, I'm doing great today. Woke up, went out with the family for a little breakfast run, and yeah, how you doing?
Good stuff. I got chicken in the smoker right now. It's going to taste pretty good tonight. I'll have to send some pictures over to you, Gavin.
Pictures? How about an invite? I'm hungry.
Quite possibly I'll have to share some extras with you. But in all seriousness, listen, I know we were supposed to go live yesterday. Unfortunately, I was having some power issues here, so I was unable to connect to the hard internet in order to get us to be able to go. That's why we are going today. But it works out pretty well because the 7th round is underway right now, and the mystery relevant we pick soon. I'm not sure what team it will be. I believe Tampa Bay currently holds that pick. It's irrelevant. That's why it's called it. But 6 rounds before the Philadelphia Eagles have their rookie class shaping up. We have a lot to talk about. We've not been here since Thursday. Let's get started with it, Gavin. The Dallas Cowboys were on the clock, 10th overall. Philadelphia Eagles, who had the 6th overall pick, traded back, got an additional first-round pick for next year. They were on the phone with the Dallas Cowboys, of all teams, successfully traded up. Granted, they gave away the 84th overall pick this year. Again, they already had another third-rounder from the Indianapolis Colts, not a big loss. They moved up ahead of the New York Giants, who were going to take Devontae Smith, and the Philadelphia Eagles ended up taking home the Heisman Trophy winner. Gavin, he was your favorite to come to Philadelphia. We both know we wanted Jamar Chase. We knew we weren't going to get him at this point. The question was Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith. Gavin, you had a lot of high praise for Smith. He is now a Philadelphia Eagle and will be repping number 6 in Philadelphia. Gavin, I'll ask you this. How do you think the first round went for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, first of all, you gotta think Jerry Jones, all right? Because without, and you gotta think Jerry Jones, you gotta think Denver and Carolina and Zach our analytics teachers probably jumping out a window as he said he would if they didn't get Justin Fields. But without those, Dallas is not trading back. And sadly, I want to say the Giants would be getting Devontae Smith, and we would have ended up with Parsons. Not saying that Parsons is a bad pick, but we know what we need the most. Now, having saw that, I give that, if I could give first round, I give it an A+. I mean, you know what you had to do, and you went out and did it. And the fact that you did it with the division rivals, and you made Giants fans mad again for the second time in the last 4 months, you can't complain about that. I mean, so let's think about it. When you talk about a guy like Devontae Smith, who is on the board, you have to go get him. And it makes sense that you go get him because Jalen Hurts and him, they were teammates. All right, they worked together for a short period of time. And in practice, I'm pretty sure they worked together a lot behind the scenes. You're talking about a guy that just came off 117 catch a season, 1,000+ yards, and he was the Heisman winner. Now, granted that Jalen Waddle went before him, but Zach, there was no win-lose situation here. He was the highest wide receiver coming out, and the only thing that made him fall was his size. And I'm glad that our idiot general manager actually made the right choice. But Zach, can I ask you this quick question? And then before I give it to you, were you scared that when we traded up, the fact that Mac Jones and Justin Fields were on the board, were you a little bit terrified that you could pick a quarterback at this point. I was terrified. I mean, we know our general manager. He loves quarterbacks and anything else and picking the obvious choice. I mean, Zach, come on now. We know Howard.
I agree. I definitely did think at one point it was possible, but I did doubt it. I think they made the right pick. It was pretty easy. Again, the question is, does Howie Roseman deserve credit? There are two ways to look at it. Number one, he doesn't deserve credit. He's asked to do a job, identify the best player at the most needy position. He did that. But at the same time, yes, you have to look at it. Considering he has messed up in the past, he successfully was able to go out and make the right decision for the Eagles. Also got an extra first-round pick for next year out of all the transactions. And first round, A+. I agree with you, Gavin. A+ for them. Howie Roseman has to redeem himself. And here's why. Him and Jeffrey Lurie are best friends. Roseman is here to stay for now. We have to root for his success. Because if we root for his success, we root for the Eagles' success. At this point, I couldn't care less if he's in your organization or not, as long as the right decisions are being made up top.
I just want my team to win, but guess what, Zach? The bridge is burnt, all right? The ship has sailed. What other acronyms and things I could say to describe how I feel about this guy? The video that was shown after you made the third pick, and ladies and gentlemen, this is what my frustration is, all right? The second round pick, I'm not going to be mad about it. Zach, Jason Kelsey.
It was a great pick.
It's a great pick. The only thing I'm worried about is his health. He blew his knee out in the national championship game. If he can stay healthy, Zach, you know how I like my offensive linemen. I like them tall and I like them big. They're country strong. I like to call them country strong.
And versatile. This guy can play anywhere.
Any from I'm going to say guard to center and tackle maybe.
Mm-hmm. He's taking snaps at tackle as well. Go ahead.
But in the third round, you pick a defensive tackle. What are you doing? And I wish I know who's the man or the guy's name that didn't give Howard Rosen a fist bump, and Howard put his hands up like, what's wrong? Genius. I'll tell you what's wrong, because clearly you don't know. You needed a corner. And the guy that you picked was going to be here in the fourth round. That's what you wanted oh so dearly. I mean, Zach, we talk about in the second round. You talk about Asante Samuels Jr., which I'm going to let that pick slide because you got a Alabama center, which anyone from Alabama is considered a great player until they're not. I mean, look at the long line of Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry. But the list goes on and on when you talk about those guys. But the third round, you didn't take a corner. You just took a corner today. And do they really matter? A fourth, or sixth, fifth round corner? They don't matter.
No, this guy was what? I think third. I think it was the third or fourth ranked in the passer rating against the Power 5 wide receivers. He had some good stats. Again, it's easy. All these guys, Pro Football Focus stats, it's easy to look at them now. The question is, how can they be coached? How can they be schemed? And that's going to be the question for the Eagles this year. They have talent on this team. I don't think that they don't. I think their O-line has top 5 potential. Really, honestly, at this point, the question is how committed the organization is to winning this year. And that will determine whether or not guys like Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks all stay. And number 2, how good Jalen Hurts is. The Eagles, at this point, what they should be doing is putting everything in position where they say to Jalen Hurts, prove to us you're the starter. And that's exactly what Jalen Hurts wants. It's exactly what any franchise quarterback really should want.
When you talk about a guy in Jalen Hurts and the organization, Jalen Hurts is going to go out there and get you wins, Zach. That's his mentality, all right? He's a dog. I mean, if you were listening to Devontae Smith's press conference, he said he was upset that he dropped – or no, excuse me, not press conference. His interview with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay, he said he was upset that the fact that he broke his finger, not because he broke his finger, that he dropped the ball. He doesn't like dropping passes. Zach, what wide receiver have you ever heard say don't drop? I mean, they say joking, but he means it. He hates dropping passes. He wants to catch everything. One of the best route runners in this draft, and you got him. And arguably, Zach, I'm going to come out and say the best hands in this draft. He may be short, but Zach, he's always open. And if Mac Jones didn't flip the ball 9 out of 10 times, he would have had even more yards. But going back to today's topic is, does Howard Roseman deserve credit? No, Zach. No, he doesn't. And I'm going to be honest. Go back to last year. The obvious choice is there. You don't get the obvious choice, which is Justin Jefferson. And then you go out and you go draft a replacement for Carson Wentz. Not in the third round, in the second round. But I think, and Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, you traded up to get him too, right? So you knew what you were doing. And one more thing too, Zach, if you want to get rid of last year's draft, let's go to the year before that, where you get JJ Arcega-Whiteside over who's that? AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. I mean, come on now. How am I supposed to forgive someone that just does this? And look at this year, the third round. Like, you talk about rooting for a guy's success, and ladies and gentlemen, if you know me personally, I don't root for anyone's downfall. But this brother right here, I don't know. I can't rally behind someone that just constantly makes mistakes. Zach, when he drafted Devontae Smith, you know what the first thing I said was? The first full sentence I said about the Eagles was, cool, now fire Howie Roseman. The same energy must prevail. I don't understand. I mean, it's like, how many coaches fires do you get to survive until you get fired yourself? I thought it was what, at least a minimum is 3, maximum is 3. I don't know.
It's been 1 or 2 for a lot. You think the Jets organization and a few others. It's been 1 or 2 coaches, and then they're out. But how much immunity do you get when you won a Super Bowl 4 years ago, and now you're trying to rebuild a roster? You go 13-3, win a Super Bowl 9-7, 9-7, and then this year they fall and burn. Why does he not get another chance?
You can't hide behind Super Bowls when you keep making obvious mistakes. I'm sorry, Zach. If I were to log on to the show and keep myself on mute and did not say anything for the full 30 minutes to an hour that we do, and I kept consistently doing it, and you told me you need to make the obvious choice, which is to unmute yourself, and I still didn't do it. Now we're losing ratings. Wouldn't you want me going to? Because I keep messing the show flow up. I'm not talking. Zach, you can't hide behind the Super Bowl anymore. The Super Bowl is irrelevant. Because anyone that lives by and I know we don't like Brandon Orlando Scandrick for this, but he now I think about it, it's the truth. He said some guys still think they're Super Bowl champions and they're not no more, and it's the truth. Some guys still think that they're.
That was 2 years ago. I
get it, but just because the players don't you think that the front office should feel the same way, that they're not Super Bowl champions no more? I mean, come on, act with some sense of urgency, because clearly not. They're making idiotic decisions, and Zach, on top of that too, you're in cap crisis. Next year will be a little bit different of a story because you'll have some money to spend. But I mean, this guy needs to go. I'll just end it like that. This guy needs to go.
They got Anthony Harris, a couple other linebackers from the Vikings in free agency. Time will tell. Doesn't mean anything. I don't know yet. Some other news: Darius Slay switching his number to number 2. Devontae Smith wearing number 6. Jalen Hurts wearing number 1. Coming up after this, the 2 quarterbacks that were left, Justin Fields and Mac Jones. Which one will have a more successful career in the NFL? Stay tuned. We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode. All right, I'll be honest. I'll say it now. Mac Jones will have a more successful career than Justin Fields. I will leave it at that. There's a lot of reasons for that. It is not necessarily correlating talent, but I will talk situationally. Gaven, the Chicago Bears are a dumpster fire. They've always been a dumpster fire. They have always neglected quarterbacks. They have always misused them. We know how stupid Matt Nagy is. I mean, we're talking about a bald guy who wears a visor. Just kidding. It's not a bad look for him at all. I do like it. I'm like, I got a visor too. I should wear it, but I do have a nice head of hair. In all seriousness, keeping it to the football side only. Gaven, am I wrong? Compared to the Patriots, the Bill Belichick system, they got all these free agents in the offseason. Nelson Aguilar, Jalen Mills, to name a few former Eagles. They also went out and got Hunter Henry. They got Jonnu Smith. They're going out and they're making a lot of moves. They got some young wide receivers they're developing. Last year, they went, 7-9, 6-10, and Cam Newton was out with COVID for a lot of those games. Even when he was there, he wasn't playing that great. Newton might get the start this year. I think a lot of people want to see Cam Newton continue to get that next opportunity and chance to show what he has. He's on another 1-year prove-it deal. But if Mac Jones comes in and keeps his head straight, there's no reason to believe that Mac Jones' career will not be more successful than Justin Fields, assuming both of them stay on those same 2 teams.
Why, Seth? Why do you have to do this to me on Saturday? I'm having a great day, and you want to come out and say something like that. It's the second time. Justin Fields will be a better player than Mac Jones. Here's why. Go back to the college, right? Let's go back. Justin Fields has a year where he only throws a minimum of 3 interceptions, and that was last year before the COVID year. And then this past year, we know, Zach, we talked about it, Ohio State deserves a chance to be in the college football playoffs due to lack of games. Justin Fields doesn't look as hot this year, but when he went against Clemson, he lit him up. Go against a guy like Mac Jones. The reason why I'm not a firm believer in Mac Jones is because of this. 5-star talent all around him. Offensive linemen and wide receivers. I was watching some film on Mac Jones, Zach. He has no arm. Every pass he's thrown is lollipop. Every pass he's thrown is either behind or the receiver has to go catch. Never in stride. And there's very select few when it is in stride. I don't care what Bill Belichick does for Mac Jones. We got to see Mac Jones him damn self. He has to prove himself as a player because that's and go back to the draft, Zach. His talent was drafted before him. Jalen Waddle was drafted before him. Devontae Smith was drafted before him. Why? Oh wait, that's why. Because they're better than him. They made him. Without him and the Great Wall of Alabama, Zach, that's a new one. The Great Wall of Alabama. Remember, Zach, you're not going to have a clean pocket in the NFL. The Patriots' offensive line is not where it used to be. All right, Cam Newton got rocked around a lot last year. And you look at Mac Jones at Alabama, he had a clean pocket majority of times. And when the pocket collapsed on him, Zach, and he tried, and his standing statue sub tried to move, he couldn't. He thought he was moving concrete and all that. Zach, listen, Mac Jones has to prove himself as a player before we can call him the better person. We know Justin Fields brings the table. And yes, Zach, I agree. You have ball. If you're a ball, you shouldn't be wearing a visor. Just go ahead and rock a beanie or something or a hat like this. But besides the point, we get it. Matt Nagy's stupid and the hot seat is flaming hot for both the GM and him. But guess what? That defense is legit on the other side of the ball. He still has Allen Robinson on his side of the ball. And a really decent Jimmy Graham who's on his way out. He has a couple pieces, and Darnell Mooney and the crew. Justin Fields, if you can get a nice go at it and design a nice offense that's not contaminated with Matt Nagy's idiocy, he could be a better player. Zach, he can make plays on his feet. Zach, we've seen Justin Fields go toe-to-toe with Trevor Lawrence, and the fact that people are calling him the second best quarterback in this draft should mean something. And we wouldn't even think about Mac Jones. If it wasn't for ESPN and Get Up ESPN with Dan Mike Greenberg and the crew talk about Mac Jones, we wouldn't care. We wouldn't care. He shouldn't have been where he fell to. That was generous because he was supposed to be a mid to late first round pick. And I guess 15 was considered mid. But Zach, Justin Fields is the better player. He might not be in a better situation, but he will be a better player in the long run.
Better player and more success are different. You can be a great player in a terrible situation. I'm going to stand by it. I do think that Mac Jones is not as talented as Justin Fields. I know we agree on that. But I trust Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels more than I trust Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy.
Well, that's unfair. Like we said, Zach, I mean, he wears a visor with a bald head. I mean, come on, brother. You got to switch the cap. But Bill Belichick is a mind. But here's my one question for you, Zach. If Bill Belichick is some legend and some guy, why didn't it work with Cam Newton last year?
It was one bad season.
So what do you think?
One bad season, most opt-outs in the NFL. O-line was decimated. Couldn't even name more than one wide receiver on the team. Quarterback had COVID. Wasn't able to stay healthy for a lot of the year. There's a lot of reasons that they went 6-10. They went 6-10, not 3-13, not 2-14. They went 6-10, about right in the middle of the league, 15th overall pick, not the first overall pick, and they're going to be just fine this coming up season.
Is that offensive line still decimated?
For now, it is. They have a lot of work to do.
But it's like I want Mac Jones to start week 1. I want to. You know why? I want Mac Jones to start week 1 just so he can get chased around, and get knocked out, and then
neither him or Justin Fields will start week 1.
Justin Fields might start week 1, but
the only quarterbacks that are set to start week 1 are Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson right now.
I mean, they didn't have nobody, so it makes sense. But Zach, I really want Mac Jones to start week 1. You know why? Because I want to see him get chased around, and then when he gets knocked down, throws interceptions and this and that, I'm gonna come on this show and what I'm gonna tell you: standing statues aren't a good fit in the NFL no more.
Standing statues have won 8 of the last 10 Super Bowls.
But then that's not the style of players going to win you a championship in the future.
We don't know that for sure. It continues to get discredited every year. With that being said, look, we're talking about the same team, the same system, the same coaching staff. that took an 199th overall 5'2", 40-yard dash Michigan quarterback and made him the greatest of all time. And that's going to be their next challenge with Mac Jones. Bill Belichick, 70 years old. I guess he's still in it for the long run. With that being said, coming up after this, the Sixers have won their last 3 games by 97 points, the most in franchise history over a 3-game span. The difference, Ben Simmons is back. They look like the best team in the East right now, but they're still behind. Half game back of Brooklyn. Brooklyn lost last night to the Portland Trail Blazers. They play the Bucks tomorrow. The Sixers also have a couple of games this coming week. They have a chance to become the 1 seed. Do we think they can do it? Stay tuned.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
Welcome back here on the More Than Philly Sports Network. Just finishing up an interesting debate of which quarterback will have a more successful career, Mac Jones or Justin Fields. We'll continue to monitor that situation as the 2021 season gets underway. With that being said, Gavin, last week I'd throw my hands up saying the Sixers are not getting the 1 seed. They're 1.5 games back. The schedule is still tough. But things have changed very rapidly. The Nets lost the game last night, shorthanded, granted. The Sixers are back within a half game of them. And the Nets have 2 games against the Milwaukee Bucks coming up, and possibly shorthanded as well. The 76ers, on the other hand, play San Antonio, Chicago, the Rockets, and then the Pelicans, Pistons, Pacers, Heat, Magic twice. That's a very easy schedule to finish up the year. Gavin, do you think the Sixers end up getting the 1 seed in the East?
I do believe so, Zach, but here's the thing. I kind of don't want them to. I mean, it goes back to playoff positioning. Zach, the 1 seed is nice and dandy and all, but that'll be Milwaukee in the second round. Zach, as of right now, every time you face Milwaukee, it's been against a back-to-back or you've been understaffed. So if you look at the standings right now, Brooklyn's at 1, Sixers at 2, Milwaukee's 3, the New York Knicks are 4. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll save that for another day. The Atlanta Hawks are 5, and right now Boston is sitting 6 without the play-in tournament, and then with the play-in game, Miami, Charlotte, Indy, and Washington. Haven't saw that. If the Sixers were to stay 2, that means they will face, as of right now, they will face the Miami Heat, which is not no cakewalk, but I'd rather face Miami Heat than anyone else in the first round. I mean, Charlotte in the first, but it's all about the second round. It's like if the Sixers were to win and somehow the New York Knicks were to beat the Atlanta Hawks, it would be New York versus Philly in this next round, which will ultimately guarantee Eastern Conference berth, because the New York Knicks, there's no way in hell they're going to the next round in the playoffs. They shouldn't be in the playoffs in the first place, but Julius Randle is having a most improved year. Having said that, Zach, but the 1 seed, I do believe they'll get it, but I'm just looking at it from a further picture. You kind of want the 2nd seed.
Yeah, quite possibly. I'd much rather face Charlotte in the first round than I would want to face Miami. I will say that. I think it is better that way. But it's going to go either way. I'm just pulling up the schedules to analyze both of them. Again, half game back right now. In Milwaukee, the Nets play 2 games against the Bucks, and then they have to play the Dallas Mavericks, Denver Nuggets, and then they finish the year with the Bulls, Spurs, Bulls, and Cavaliers. Of those games, I can see them losing potentially 3 more. And if I look at the Sixers schedule, I see them potentially losing 1 or 2 more, and that would put them at the 1 seed. So according to just the basics of the schedule, I do think the Sixers do get the 1 seed. Is it going to be the right move? Time will tell. But with that being said, I do want to just point out another key indicator here in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Phillies retain first place in the NL East. They continue to battle just to stay at 500. They've been up, have not been above 500 since that first series against the Atlanta Braves when they started off 3-0. Right now, they sit 13-13, a half game up over the Washington Nationals, who have been on a hot streak as of late, and then the Atlanta Braves, New York Mets, and Miami Marlins. All 5 teams are within 2 games of each other. Being in first place doesn't show how bad the Phillies have been situationally this year. But they beat the Mets yesterday. Very good outing. They play at 6:05 today. This is kind of becoming our pregame show now. But one thing I want to point out about them, we're not going to cover too much about the Phillies today. We know we know our opinions on the Phillies so far. It hasn't changed yet. But end of last night, Dominic Smith, JoJo Romero had some words for each other. The Mets-Phillies rivalry. Here's the question. Is it back?
It's back, but guess what, Zach? I like it. I like the intensity. I like to see the hometown team show that they care. When you got guys like Joel Embiid getting into fights with Carl Anthony Towns last year and having Ben Simmons choke him out, one of the best moves that was never fined for Zach. They call it a peacemaking move. So from now on, if it's self-defense, just choke somebody out, it's called peacemaking, apparently, in the NBA's eyes. No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joking. I like the intensity, Zach. I really do. To show that they care, because in some days it really looks like they don't care. The Phillies are tired of being pushed around. You go to St. Louis, you get Bryce Harper gets hit in the face, D. Gregorius gets hit in the back, Joe Girardi gets ejected for defending his players, and what happens after that? You get into a fight with the New York Mets, your division rivals. You're not having it no more. Good. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to be the pushover. You're not supposed to be the well, it's all right, we'll give them next time. You're not supposed to be passive. Be aggressive. Let them know. Let them know you're here to play. Now, regarding to last night, Zach, I think that what transpired was stupid, meaning, I struck you out. I'm going to yell if I want to, Zach. That's the stuff that Trevor Bauer talks about, is the unwritten rules of baseball, not making the game fun. If a guy, like Trevor Bauer strikes you out and he wants to start off the mound, he deserves it. He struck you out. If Tatis is hitting a home run, smash home run, he could bat flip. You gave it up to him. But the unwritten rules of baseball always get in the way. And last night, that's what we saw. Guy took offense to someone screaming. He said, "I'm a man. I don't understand the meaning of that term. I get you're a man, but I don't understand it." Zach, I like the intensity though.
I agree with you on the second part. I like the intensity. I like defending home field. But this is not a rivalry right now. I'm sorry. The Mets are 9-11. The Phillies are 13-13. What rivalry is there? It's not like you take a look at the Padres, who are 15-12, and the Dodgers at 16-11. This is no rivalry. It's not going to be a rivalry until both teams can prove they can win on a consistent basis. So no, it's not a rivalry right now. It's fascinating. Of course, the Mets and the Phillies, we have a history together. It's like the Cowboys and the Eagles, but in years where you are not playing well and you've been so irrelevant for so long, the rivalry is simply not there.
Zach, I know what the rivalry is. The battle of the two trash cans. Loser becomes the biggest trash can in the division. I don't know. You're right. It's not a rivalry, but I did like the intensity just from our side. You got to be more consistent. I would like the intensity when it comes to scoring runs and maybe keeping the ball inside the park and limiting the runs on a base pad. But hey, what do I know, Zach? What do I know? I'm just an innocent bystander that likes the game and gets mad at his team.
I agree, but again, until these teams are relevant, there's no such thing as the rivalry.
You could say that Phillies and the Braves might be a rivalry, because that's always a good one whenever they play.
It is good, but again, and I understand that even if you're not a good team, with the Eagles-Cowboys games will always be rivalries. But baseball's a little different. It interchanges, and so Mets fans, Phillies fans, we can enjoy it all we want, but let's be honest, both of our teams suck right now. And that can change. That can change.
They're both for one side maybe, but they're both underperforming. I don't disagree with you, Zach. They both have to step it up before they can fight anybody. How about you fight your teammates? Because you guys are the ones are the record's bad. You guys are the reason why you're either 13-13 or what is it, 9-11? 9-11 for the Mets?
Yeah, 9-11, two games under 500 with their new prize for Francisco Lindor batting 189 this year. Bryce Harper, by the way, who is heavily criticized for the size of his contract, called overrated in every city he goes to, gets booed. Just a reminder, while he is currently recovering from his face, he's batting 321 and is in second place on the Phillies with home runs hit. So Phillies haters can rest for today. Again, team is still at 500. Bullpen is still the biggest issue, but so is the inconsistency on offense. Some other breaking news, Roman Quinn has been placed on the COVID list. Not that it's a big loss, but of course, if he does have COVID, we're hoping for the best for him. D.D. Gregorius, who was on the COVID list, has been reinstated and is expected to play tonight. And Mickey Moniak was recalled for tonight's game. So we'll see if we can see these guys. Again, JT Realmuto is also out with a sore left hand, probably dating back to the broken thumb he had. So Andrew Knapp will get the start tonight. With that being said, Gaven, anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up today's show?
3 quick things, Zach. Today is Gianna Bryant's birthday, so happy birthday to the wonderful Miss Gianna Bryant. And every day, you just get reminded of all the people that was tragically lost on that day. sophomore guard Paige Beckers had surgery on her ankle. It's like I didn't even know her ankle was bothering her, but we'll be back next year, and she was named third on the players of this year. I think the list is called the college player. I forget the list name, but she's right behind Aaliyah Boston who sits at 2. And finally, Zach, I still don't want Howie Roseman here. I want him to go. And P.S. Thank you to Cowboys fans for giving me Devontae Smith. So now you guys get torched by him.
And Giants fans get to continue to cry. The final thing that I have to say for today, Aaron Rodgers, it's just getting started. He wants the GM fired if he stays a Packer. That is a big ask. But he is your entire offense. I say you do it if you're Green Bay.
Actually, I got one more thing, Zach. I know we don't cover this a lot on here, but Usman versus Masvidal, Zach. That was a fight I was mentioning last week. Did you see what Usman did to Masvidal with the one punch knockout, and then he just hammered him to the? I mean, Lord have mercy, please. That was the most vicious thing I've ever seen in my life. Zach, look, I'm all good for watching a good fight. Zach, my favorite fighter is John Jones, but let me tell you, that man Usman's on another level. There's nobody else like it. And Floyd Mayweather, please don't lose to Jake Paul, out all people. Please don't.
He won't. Floyd Mayweather does not mess around. He'll take care of business.
Money's money, but that record means more than the money then sometimes.
We'll keep track of all of it. Of course, in the golf, we'll recap it on Monday. Kentucky Derby is underway now. A lot of exciting things continuing again. A year that was not last year, essentially normal for the sports world. While we're not at the home stretch yet, or at least we're done with the pandemic, I mean, things are returning to normal timeline-wise. It's nice to see. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us here on our Saturday edition of the More Than Philly Sports Network. We hope you all enjoyed it today and have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
Have a good one, everybody. Have a great weekend.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we